Good afternoon and welcome to our September President's Update. Thanks to all for your hard work. We have continued to make progress towards our strategic plan enrollment goals. As we continue to prepare for the start of our second 8-week term and watch enrollment numbers, we need to continue to strive for 82% of our strategic plan enrollment target to be enrolled by the end of fall. To stay on track to meet our total strategic plan enrollment goal, which is 100,472 as a college, that would be 82,387 enrolled by the end of fall. If we don't increase enrollments, there's no way we can meet that 50,000 completions per year goal, which is critical to improving educational attainment in Indiana and filling the middle-skilled jobs in our communities. Further, recall that our tuition funds almost 50% of our budget. Campuses with declining enrollments have to make difficult decisions on how to allocate on a shrinking budget. And finally, ensuring every student is enrolled in our second 8-week courses both ensures their timely completion and improved funding for the campus. So to date, we have enrolled 77,775 students, which is 77% of our enrollment goal. 2 more students, and that would have been all 7s. Anyway, in order to stay on track, we will need to enroll almost 4,600 additional students for the fall second 8 weeks. At this time, we do have 4 campuses who have met their 82% enrollment benchmarks. Those are Lawrenceburg, Madison, Sellersburg, and Terre Haute. Congratulations to these 4 campuses. While we continue to think about fall and the second 8-week starts, we also need to remember that registration for our spring term has already opened as of Monday, September 17th. The spring will be a good opportunity for campuses to boost enrollment, where we'll be driving for that other 18% of annualized headcount for the spring term, and a good opportunity to reach back to students who dropped out less than 2 years ago to come back for the spring as a continuing student. Our spring population is typically older than our fall population, and that's good because that generally has a more significant conversion rate. In addition to our annual enrollment goals, we know the most important work we do is in educating and helping students persist to completion. Thus, a second key metric is retention. I've asked Andy Bound, our Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, to talk to us about our fall-to-fall retention goal. Welcome, Andy.
Great. Thank you, Sue. We've set a 5-year goal as part of the strategic plan to improve fall-to-fall retention to 60% within 5 years. Currently, we are below the 50th percentile nationally according to the National Community College Benchmarking Project. To increase fall-to-fall retention to 60% would put us at above the 90th percentile nationally, and most importantly, it says that the majority of our students who should be coming back are coming back to stay on plan. Perhaps it would be good to operationally define fall-to-fall retention. We define fall-to-fall retention as the percent of revenue-generating students enrolled at Ivy Tech at any time during a fall term who are also enrolled at any time in the subsequent fall term. From those students, we exclude those who are not degree-seeking and those who earned a degree. You'll also hear the terms retention and persistence. Students who stay in college persist. We track students' persistence and report it in terms of retention. Over the previous 4 years, we have dramatically increased fall-to-fall retention from the low 40% range to 47%. This gain is really important for students, as persistence is a precursor to completion. If students don't persist, they don't complete. Having said that, it's also important to recognize that retention for the sake of retention isn't necessarily a good thing. While it generates enrollment and therefore revenue, we want students to persist with a plan to completion. If a student is working her plan and she persists, that's a good thing, a really good thing. as she will be even closer to earning her credential of choice. When students persist without a plan, they graduate with too many credits. As part of my Aspen Fellowship project, I analyzed a variety of issues related to retention and completions. On average, students earning an associate degree at Ivy Tech graduate with 71 credits. That's more than what's often required at 60 credits. For our students, the vast majority of our students who attend part-time, that means a delay of 1 year or longer and an additional $1,500 or more. Time and money are resources that our students usually just don't have enough of. Now, we won't have the official fall-to-fall retention numbers to report until December, but I do have some preliminary results as of last Friday. So, if the numbers hold true, our fall-to-fall retention appears to again this year have increased to just over 48%. Realize this is a preliminary number and doesn't account for any second 8-week courses. Looking at our preliminary results, 3 campuses may have exceeded our 50% goal already. I think, given Sue's comments earlier, you may recognize some names here. Madison was the highest, followed by Terre Haute and Sellersburg. And these 3 campuses have consistently been among the top of all of our campuses when it comes to fall retention. And to those campuses, we say thank you and congratulations. Keep up your really, really good work. Improving retention, whether fall to fall or even term to term, happens not by chance, but by intentional effort. As a college, there are many efforts underway that experience and research shows will drive up retention. For instance, we have several strategies and tactics coming from our strategic plan that improve retention. Efforts such as 8-week courses, registration pins, linear pathways, and proactive advising. But there's also things that we can do as individual faculty and staff members. It can be as simple as getting to know your students by name and calling them by name, or intervening when you see a student struggling to ensure that students successfully complete their courses and can continue to move forward with their academic plan. Or it could be making sure that your programs offer the courses in a manner that allows students to stay continuously enrolled. Retention is critical, starting with completing their courses and progressing from fall to spring and then from fall to fall. Students need to persist with a plan to completion. And when this happens, students are successful. And we know that that's what you're doing across each of our campuses, and to that I say thank you.
And thank you, Andy, and our faculty and staff for the impact you're having on our students. As you know, a critical component to our student success is advising. We launched our new academic advising model this fall term. This model was piloted during both the fall 2016 and spring 2017 terms at our Terre Haute, Sellersburg, and Valparaiso campuses. I've asked Susan Hawkins-Wilding, Assistant Vice President for Academic Advising, to provide us an update. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elsterman. I wanted to take a moment to just update the college community on our progress in launching our new academic advising model. You may recall we launched our first academic advising model in the fall of 2012 as one of our Achieving the Dream initiatives. Along with this, we began also using Ivy Advising. In the fall of 2014, our then provost, Mary Ostry, did statewide visits to receive feedback from faculty regarding the advising process. An academic advising committee was formed based on this feedback, comprised of faculty, advisors, campus and statewide systems office folks. 2 main improvements were suggested from both the faculty campus visits and advising committee retention research. Both faculty feedback and retention literature emphasize the need to have students engage with faculty sooner in their program areas and for greater training and collaborations between both faculty and professional advisors. Based on these two needs, we structured our model to have all new students assigned to advising center advisors by program area, and then students meet with those professional advisors where they first confirm their program selection, create their academic plan, and learn about campus resources. Within the student's first term, they are also then assigned a faculty advisor and meet with them in either a group setting or in one-on-one appointments. Another important component of the new model is for both professional advisors and faculty to document their student appointments or notes. Having each department aware of what is discussed with students helps us go deeper in our student conversations and helps us present consistent information regarding course requirements and policies. You'll see on the slide behind me the partnerships between students, faculty, and professional advisors, allowing faculty to focus on career and curriculum matters and professional advisors on retention initiatives or student success connections to other resources in the community or on campus. You can also find these documents and other additional great information on My Ivy under Academic Advising Resources. There's some really nice short videos and other supplemental information I think that can help you as we roll out this model. Why is it important to document our advising interactions in Ivy Advising and to have appointments available in the system for students to schedule? Here's the new student view in Ivy Advising, and students are connected to instructors and advisors in their success network within the Ivy Advising system. Students can email, call, or schedule appointments using this support network as long as our faculty and our staff set up those appointments within the system. Having appointments, a profile picture, or a bio even, is a great, easy way to connect with students. Documenting these interactions allows multiple departments to know what academic discussions and support resources the student has been directed to. It is also a great way for us to assess our interactions in order to provide great service. Students can also see upcoming appointments, assignments that are due, tasks, kudos, flags, etc. in their Ivy Advising dashboard. It helps keep them on track as they're working on their actual in-school projects or appointments or resources on campus. As you can also see from the most recent data, students who have had at least one advising appointment had a 4% higher retention rate than those students with no recorded advising appointment in the fall of 2017 term into the spring of 2018 term. Advising is an important component of student success. Our most recent student surveys show that students say they value those advising interactions and they often wish they had gone in to see their academic advisor sooner. And both those student voices and our most recent appointment data show that these interactions help students complete. The collaborations and work taking place between professional advisors and faculty advisors, I think, will really continue to allow us to help students build those support systems that can help students reach their goals.
Thank you, Susan, for updating us on the academic advising model. You know, to many that 4% may not be that much, but to us as a system, that 4% is almost 4,000 students in our system, almost equal to the number of students we are short on enrollment this fall. That really makes you understand how important every one of our interactions are in helping students persist and complete. If anyone has questions, please reach out to Susan or your local advising individuals for more information. As we've talked about previously, the upcoming legislative session is a budget session for the Indiana General Assembly. As part of the preparation process for this, Ivy Tech presents a budget request to the Indiana Commission for Higher Education, or as we call CHE. I presented to the Commission earlier this month and wanted to share with you some of that presentation, focusing on our line items and capital budget requests. For line item requests you'll see shared here, we will be asking for an increase in our request for statewide nursing, increasing the amount from $85,000 per year to $1 million per year. The increase will be used to hire Masters in Science and Nursing faculty, MSNs, to expand our capacity in nursing. Recall that nursing is the one capped program we have where there are thousands of students waiting to get in, and across our state we have more than a 50% excess demand for registered and licensed practical nurses. Our second request is for a line item we call All Students Achieve. This first component is to improve our safety and security for students, faculty, and staff. You may not know, but over the last 12 months, Ivy Tech has had multiple incidents on or near our campuses that forced a lockdown of buildings for the safety of our students, faculty, and staff. The first in May of 2018, a Terre Haute police officer was tragically killed in a shootout with a murder suspect in an apartment complex adjacent to our campus. Then in July, our Richmond campus was locked down for several hours as local, state, and federal authorities attempted to locate 2 armed suspects in a wooded area behind the campus. And then just last week, our Connorsville campus was in lockdown because of nearby criminal activity. In all instances, our campus staff were able to secure our campuses, but only through a manual process, which took nearly 3 minutes in one case to lock down all those doors and to protect our students, faculty, and staff from the threats outside of campus. Ivy Tech has made critical investments as of late with the implementation of a system-wide emergency notification system, statewide drills and exercises, and an update to our public safety structure and processes. With the requested investment, Ivy Tech will implement the first phase of a statewide safety and security access control project. We will enable the Ivy Tech community to transition to a single ID that will integrate access control, library services, and computing services. In addition, we will be able to notify access control and start a path toward each of our campuses having full perimeter access control. With this in place, we will be able to reduce the risk of our own staff through those electronic controls. A second part of our All Students Achieve is a statewide Latino recruitment and retention support. This effort will build a multi-year strategy for statewide Latino engagement, focusing first on K-12 school systems that are experiencing a significant Latino population growth. We want to promote a sense of belonging and educational access both for the students and their families. Spanish language signage and materials and translation devices for frontline staff on campuses are included in this as well. Finally, the last component of All Students Achieve is creating a culture of success, access, and responsibility by addressing equity issues at every level of the organization: students, staff, faculty, senior leadership, and community partners. And at every step along the student's pathway to success, access, recruitment, enrollment, persistence, completion, and job placement, we would contract with cultural competency professionals to develop a series of trainings for staff and faculty statewide. One other component of this All Students Achieve is coaching and mentoring. This would allow us to expand coaching services that have proven to be successful for our students. We have already begun to build our coaching capacity with Inside Track, and these efforts will allow us to serve even more students. Well, as we shared previously, we use in our capital project a paired comparison analysis, which helps us to identify which projects will move forward. But first we begin with 4 criteria. The criteria we use first step in the projects is the impact to student success, how it impacts workforce needs, does it reduce or repurpose space, and does it address the R&R and building needs. From there, projects will continue to this paired comparison analysis. In this year's approach, our first priority is replacing the main building on the campus in Columbus. This replacement will not add any additional square footage. The current building, if you know it, has significant problems, including inefficient HVAC systems, an obsolete roof, and does not adequately accommodate students. Columbus was, if you recall, rated as our number 3 priority 2 years ago, and our first 2 priorities were funded by the General Assembly. The second priority is Fort Wayne and includes the renovation of Harshman Hall and the demolition of Carroll Hall. Ivy Tech acquired Harshman Hall in 2007 from the state of Indiana, and that building was originally a children's developmental hospital. The building is sound structurally, but requires full renovation to provide a functional facility. In addition, it has experienced some significant emergency repairs over the last few years and is critical to the operation of the Fort Wayne campus. And finally, number 3 is a statewide deferred maintenance. This project is different from any that we've done recently at Ivy Tech. While this total by no means addresses all of our deferred R&R, it does allow us to fix the most critical urgent items on 6 campuses across the state. Items like failing and outdated mechanical systems and power reliability issues. You are welcome to watch a recording of our entire presentation at the CHE website, which you see shown above. And as we talk about CHE, they have been a great partner to Ivy Tech in another area, and that is leading the governor's Next Level Jobs program. So today I've asked Ann Valentine, Ivy Tech's Vice President for Workforce Partnerships, to share more about that. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you, Sue. As you know, Governor Holcomb launched Next Level Jobs and the supporting grant program, Workforce Ready Grants, last year, just prior to the start of our fall semester. Our frontline staff, including our financial aid teams, did a great job identifying eligible students to receive the Workforce Ready Grants, while our enrollment and advising teams encouraged students to enroll in eligible programs. Over the summer, our colleagues at CHE joined us in visiting some Ivy Tech campuses to meet with staff in person and share some updates to the program since its launch last year. Next Level Jobs is built on the same big idea as Ivy Tech's strategic plan, Indiana's goal of 60% of Hoosiers earning a post-secondary credential by 2025. Even if every high school student enrolls in college, we still have a large gap. We need adult learners to earn credentials in order to prepare to meet the workforce needs of Indiana. Next Level Jobs has identified certificates and technical certificates that lead to careers in high-demand fields, prioritized in the following sectors: advanced manufacturing, business and information technology, building and construction, healthcare, and transportation and logistics. There are both credit and non-credit eligible programs, and you can find the complete list of eligible programs at the Next Level Jobs website. The Workforce Ready Grant provides support to students earning stackable credentials, those CTs and TCs that lead to jobs and associate degrees. As with every grant program, there are eligibility requirements, which can be found on the Next Level Jobs website. I didn't think we needed to go in detail today on those. While the program was initially designed to support adult students, this year the program was expanded to include dependent students as defined by the FAFSA. The biggest eligibility distinction for those two groups with the Workforce Ready Grant is that independent students must enroll at least half-time, typically 2 courses per semester, and dependent students are required to enroll in at least 12 credit hours per semester. Next Level Jobs also includes support for employers wanting to train, hire, and retrain employees with the Employer Training Grant. The Department of Workforce Development administers this program, and Ivy Tech has been helping connect employers with those grants, up to $5,000 per employee, to help employers fill in-demand positions within Indiana's 6 priority sectors. Employers can then use Ivy Tech training to train those employees. So, are we seeing results from our work? Absolutely. In 2017-18, we had more than 7,900 individual students enrolled in Workforce Ready Grant eligible programs, and this fall, we already have more than 5,800 enrolled students. Importantly, this past fall, spring, and summer terms, we had 3,735 students with at least one completion in a Workforce Ready Grant program. Ivy Tech's success in this area is due to our campus student-facing staff who quickly embraced the Workforce Ready Grant program and have been working to guide students into these programs where completion will lead to high-wage, high-demand jobs. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Ann. Great to have you with us. So we've come to the time in our President's Update where we meet one of our chancellors. Today, Alex Husky, Chancellor for our Marion campus, joins us. Alex, welcome.
Thank you, Sue.
So tell us a little bit about the work you did prior to coming Ivy Tech.
Well, prior to Ivy Tech, I had 23 years law enforcement and regulatory service experience. That career path included various roles with the Marion Police Department, Superintendent of the State Excise Police, Chairman of the Governor's Commission for Drug-Free Indiana, and Chairman of the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. I also served as a guest lecturer and was an adjunct for a couple of our four-year partners.
That's wonderful. So, Alex, tell us about Marion. What are the strengths of the campus and your community?
Well, the Marion campus is located in proximity to Interstate 69 and State Road 18. This is the perfect location for our service area of Grant, Blackford, and Jay counties, or what I like to term as Opportunity Road. You may ask, why Opportunity Road? Well, let me tell you. The counties in our service area have much more in common than being connected by State Road 18. In February of 2015, these counties received some sobering news. Each of these counties were said to have some of the highest rates of poverty in the state of Indiana. While that news was cause for alarm, the alarm was sounded for a call to action. And since that time, groups have come together to place their stake in the ground for collective impact. There are groups like Thriving Families in Grant County. This group has brought community partners together to develop a healthy and thriving community. In Blackford County, you have groups like Community and Family Services, who work to ensure every child has an opportunity to thrive and every adult could have an opportunity to develop skills that would assist them in becoming gainfully employed. In Jay County, the community came together to create a promise. That promise is that each student would have an opportunity to advance beyond secondary education to develop skills that would attract economic growth to the community. These are communities that refuse to be defined by their challenges. These are communities that committed to identifying the opportunities that are beyond every challenge. The Marion campus is no exception. I am extremely proud of the Marion campus team. Our faculty and staff amplify grit. Since January of this year, we have taken an innovative approach to identifying programs that meet the needs of our service area, as well as developing strategies to engage with these communities that we serve. We began 2018 with a month-long listening tour, kind of like you, throughout our service area. We visited with each Chamber of Commerce, each Economic Development Group, each school superintendent, and industry partners. These visits allowed us to hear the voice of the customer and identify current gaps in the workforce and future needs for a skilled workforce. It was clear the need to identify opportunities and strategies to engage students early in their educational careers to develop pathways to credentials based in technology. As a result, we began to examine ways to include our Credits Count program.
Well, could you tell me more about the campus partnership with AEP and Credits Count?
Yes. Well, in 2016, we were fortunate to be awarded $800,000 from the American Electric Power Company to develop STEM exploration programs for junior high school students in the Marion Community Schools, as well as dual credit enrollment opportunities for students at Marion High School. The focus of the program is to introduce students who are from underrepresented or underserved populations to STEM-related careers and educational opportunities. We had 1 year to plan, the second year was to implement, and now we're in our third year, which is our evaluation year. Since the launch of Credits Counts, we've held STEM summer programs with curriculum focused on forensic science, electrical circuits, robotics, Raspberry Pi coding, structural engineering, 3D design and printing, website design, textile, wind and energy, chemistry and food science, aviation and biology, and as well as basic physics concepts. Students have also learned to code the EV3 Lego Mindstorm robots to perform a variety of tasks. And each Friday, these students are afforded an opportunity to take a trip to broaden the experiences that they had in curricular activities. Students at the McCullough Junior High School even have been introduced to literacy programs so that they will experience greater achievements in their literacy skills. The students are also engaged in preparing for college and career class, which provides opportunities for career exploration and participating in mock interviews that focus on those essential soft skills. Students attending Marion High School have also wonderful opportunities to be engaged. We have an IVYT 111 program that provides essential skills for educational and workforce success. And in addition, we have been very fortunate to launch this year a dual enrollment industrial technology electrical certificate program where students may earn stackable credentials as a certificate in industrial technology or a technical certificate in industrial technology. There are currently 18 students enrolled in this program, and due to the partnerships that we have in the community, local employers, these students have an opportunity to be immediately employed once they graduate from high school. And we're very fortunate that more than 450 students have been impacted by this program so far.
That's awesome. I also understand that Marion has a greenhouse. Can you tell me about that?
All I can tell you, it's beautiful. This is a project that is 10 years in the making, and it's an opportunity for our students to study aquaculture as a part of the program as well as horticulture. Ag is one of our Quadrant 1 programs for our service area, so there's a great demand and great opportunity for our students. Another one of our opportunities that we have right now is an accelerated program that we're launching for next year. And one of those programs is working with our community in the criminal justice field to help those who are already in the criminal justice field earn a credential within 11 months. And additionally, we're working to build community engagement. Through our new course offering, we have a course called The Problems of Substance Abuse in Society. We've had good response so far, and we know that there's great work to do in the community to continue.
Thank you, Alex. I really enjoyed learning more about the Marion campus and the great work your team is doing in serving the community and our students. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Up until now, our President's updates have been focused on internal operations for Ivy Tech. Today we're doing something new. We're talking with one of our students. Technically, he's now an Ivy Tech graduate. I got to know Graham Truesdale earlier this year when he served as our intern in government relations, working alongside Mary Jane Michalak at the State House during the 2018 legislative session. He was an outstanding intern, so we asked him to stay on with us for this summer, and he worked for Systems Office. You may have even seen him on the third floor at NMC if you stopped by. As I got to know Graham and heard his story, I knew it was one that others should hear. So thank you, Graham, for joining us today. You started classes this fall, having transferred to IUPUI after earning your associate degree at Ivy Tech. But could you tell us a bit about how you found Ivy Tech initially?
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Sue. So initially, not to sound cliche, but I was looking for a college where I could work part-time and go at my own pace. Admittedly, I had been to college once before and had to drop out due to some substance abuse issues. Once I finally got myself clean again, I knew that it was time to weigh my options again. Unfortunately, about 2 months before the fall semester started, a personal loss in my family made it so that I wasn't sure if a degree was even going to be in my future. However, I persisted and pushed through and thought about my options once again. I had driven past the Ivy Tech campus so many times, and I had spoken to so many Ivy Tech alumni. I understood that if I was going to go back to school, it wasn't going to be their traditional 4-year sprint. I had to be more practical about my situation, more realistic. And as it turned out, Ivy Tech was by far the best situation for me. I decided to take it slow at first and just enroll in a few courses, but I still struggled with bouts of depression and anxiety, and my first few grades reflected this. However, I spoke to my academic advisor and decided that I wasn't ready to call it quits just yet.
So after struggling initially at Ivy Tech, what helped you get onto a path to success, both personally and academically?
It's a very good question. So personally, my family and my friends have helped me and supported me and cheered me on throughout my path. Academically, there's probably about a half a dozen to a dozen teachers that I could tell you about that really made an impression upon me. And because of the smaller class sizes, I even got to know many of them on a personal basis. As I moved through Ivy Tech, I began to look at them as friends, actually. They pushed me to keep going when on the inside I didn't want to. I started utilizing the tutors at the Learning Center and even began taking on leadership roles in my classes and in clubs. My grades began to reflect those efforts as well. It was liberating in a sense because I started to believe in my abilities again and my future. And I became the president of the politics club here at Ivy Tech and became a member of the Society of Leadership and Success. And in the fall semester of 2018, I graduated with an associate's degree in general studies at 3.7 GPA and a smile on my face.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, tell us about your work as an intern at Ivy Tech.
Yeah. So it's actually kind of a funny story. So about a year and a half ago, in one of my American government classes, Dr. Russ Baker came and he taught a class on the Electoral College. A bit of a politics junkie myself. I followed up with him the next day. We decided to get lunch to discuss it further. I told him a little bit about my story and about my experiences in past, and he asked me if I'd be willing to share some of that with you. I said, sure. Not thinking that I'd actually be able to get a face-to-face with the president of Ivy Tech. Surely she would be too busy to meet with me. However, the next thing I knew, I was sitting in your office telling you about my story. You told me a bit about yourself and your past, and at the end, you were kind enough to offer me an internship with government relations right here at Ivy Tech. I have to admit, I was ecstatic on the ride home that day. It all came around full circle because I actually had the opportunity to co-guest lecture that very same Electoral College class last night with Dr. Baker. And I'll let him tell you who won that debate. But transitioning from an Ivy Tech student to an Ivy Tech employee was an amazing experience. I was able to feed my political thirst while at the same time utilizing the skills that I had learned in a real-world sense. Under the guidance of Mary Jane McAuliffe, I got a closer look into what government relations means to Ivy Tech, how the proverbial Ivy Tech sausage is made. I truly gained a newfound appreciation for what goes on behind the scenes that the average student might not have sight of. I got to meet with Governor Holcomb, and I even had a chance to speak at an opioid roundtable with Senator Young about ways to address and combat the terrible epidemic that we're going through. I will not soon forget, and I am grateful for the opportunity to work at the school that helped educate me.
Wow. As you begin your work on that next degree at IUPUI, what do you hope is part of your future?
Well, that's $1 million question. So, as I've mentioned to you in the past, I was accepted to SPIA, which is a School of Public and Environmental Affairs, and I'm actually in between two majors right now. I'm looking into nonprofit management and civic leadership, both of which would provide me with a degree that to impact the same community that has helped me so much. I will use this degree to continue my education at law school and begin working for nonprofit organizations and perhaps even volunteering for political campaigns right here in Indiana. Someday I will open my own nonprofit organization that will have a concentration on at-risk youth and adults throughout communities in the Midwest with a focus on after-school programs, mental health counseling, and even substance abuse treatment. I'm hoping to create a program that will help heal and support individuals in pain and that will help nurture a more positive and prosperous community. I owe so much to Ivy Tech, and I'll be sure to take my knowledge and skills with me wherever I go. Thank you very much, Sue, for having me on today and letting me speak.
Thank you, Graham. We are very, very proud of what you're doing and so glad you chose Ivy Tech and grateful to your friends and family that they supported you on your journey, and we can't wait to see what comes next for you.
Thank you.
So lastly today, I wanted to share a student life and Phi Theta Kappa initiative that supports completions called Commit to Complete. Commit to Complete is a national initiative focused on assisting students in obtaining their academic goals by asking them to sign a pledge to commit to complete that credential. Not only can students sign, but faculty and staff can sign a similar pledge, committing to support students like Graham on their journey to complete. Commit to Complete Week at campuses across the state kicks off next week, beginning Monday, October 1st. Ivy Tech has a goal of 12,000 pledges signed this year. There are many campus activities and signing events happening next week. Please take a moment to sign the pledge. Encourage your students to sign, and have discussions with your colleagues about supporting this important initiative. Finally, thank you for joining us today for the President's Update, a unique midweek session. Join me next month for our President's Update on Friday, October 26th at 2:30. Have a terrific week.